Hey freelancers, welcome back. Here's the video I promised you. So before we get into the video, I want to give a fair warning. If you have a weak stomach or you have little ones nearby or you do not like cursing, do not watch this video. It is very graphic, it is very gruesome. If you did not read the warning before the video, do not watch it with small children. Other than that, this is the video I promised you. This is experimental, so we will see how it does. If you guys like it and you guys want to see more, we will do more videos like this. If you like what you see, make sure you leave a comment below, leave a thumbs up, and subscribe. Without further ado, let's get to the video, freelancers. Let us start this story out slow. My name is Jack Smith, and I'm about 17 years old. I'm about 5'9", and I weigh somewhere between 150 and 170 pounds. I have short black hair with eyes that change colors. I've always been harassed, bullied, used, etc. I got used to it after a while, but then they pushed me too far and I finally snapped. I learned karate, kung fu, Chinese kempo, and kickboxing. After that, people who messed with me started disappearing. Law enforcement never suspected me. Now no one messes with me and I like it that way. So as I said, let's start the story out a little bit slow. It all started on February 6th when I moved to a new neighborhood. My grandmother's a CNA, which is basically short for a nurse who goes to elderly's homes to help them. Anyways, she got hired by a new retirement home, so we had to move. I was starting school at Sam Houston High School as a senior. The day went seemingly normal at first. I went and got my schedule and was on my way to class. All of a sudden, I walked right into the most popular guy in school. His name is Alex Martinez, and he's basically Satan or a hellhound. As expected, he's the quarterback for the Sam Houston High School football team. He's 6'1", and he works out almost every weekday, lets his body rest on weekends. He's very well built, and he has short black hair with hazel eyes. Now, the reason we call him a hellhound, or Satan himself, is because he's a rotten person to the core. He lies, he steals, cheats, bullies, etc. If you mess with him, then he will try to kick your ass, or rather his friends will. He acts big and bad, but truth be told, he never fights fair. He calls for backup if a fight starts to go bad for him. He's a coward and a weasel, but he is a strong and merciless weasel. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Hey, watch where you're going, dude, said Alex. Sorry, it was an accident, honestly, said Jack, while trying to ease himself out of the situation carefully. Yeah, well, you better be careful or else, punk. Mess with me and you'll regret it, said Alex, with a look full of evil intent on his face. Just after Alex said that, he pushed Jack against the lockers and walked by him, with his friends right behind him. They were all laughing their asses off as they walked away. Jack even heard one of them mumble to himself, "What a fucking coward," while laughing. At that moment, I thought to myself, man, it's only my first day and I already meet the king of hell. How fucking wonderful. I was just loving how my day started with me backing down from a bully, making myself feel ashamed and embarrassed. That's when I noticed the cute girl staring at me. Her name is Victoria Falls. She has long blonde hair with red highlights. She's 5'6", has green eyes, the color of freshly healthy grass, and she has a gorgeous firm body with cup-sized C breasts. She walked by me and gave me this devilish look. Her hips were swaying as she walked. I just knew I had to have her. However, here's what I didn't find out until it was too late. She was just as bad as Alex, simply because she is a liar and a monster as well. She tricks guys into thinking that she likes them, which gets Alex, aka her boyfriend, to kick their ass for messing with his girlfriend. She's devious, she's cunning, and especially evil. Little did I know, Alex Martinez saw me checking her out. He came and punched me in the side of my jaw with the right hook. I went down hard and spit blood on the floor. Little did he know, he just started his clock that was counting down to his own death. After he hit me, I was pissed, but I decided not to go after him. I went to the bathroom and cleaned up as best as I could, then headed to class. The second I walked in, I saw only one empty seat. The seat was in front of the one and only Alex Martinez. Now, here's what has made his timer count down even faster. The second I sat down, he hit me in the middle of my back. It hurt so damn hard, but I tried my best not to show it. My back felt like someone had hit me with a freaking wooden baseball bat. I even had a decent-sized bruise form on my back to prove it. I glanced a few seats over and saw Victoria Falls looking at me. She gave me that same devilish smile, then winked at me. I was very happy, to say the least. After that, my classes went by in a blur. I decided to ask her out after school, fully aware of the risk with Alex Martinez. I couldn't get over how she looked at me, and how she was very flirtatious towards me. I saw her by the flagpoles, leaning against the wall, on her phone. She looked at me, and so I thought, well, I can't back out now. So I walked up to her. "Hey, Victoria," said Jack. "Hey, Jack, how's your jaw?" said Victoria, while smirking with that same devilish smile. "Oh, that? Psh, that was nothing but a butterfly hit," said Jack, while trying to sound tough. "Anyways, I just wanted to ask you if maybe you wanted to hang out tonight, watch a movie," said Jack while stuttering. "Sure, I'd love to, sweetie. I'll be there at, say, 7 o'clock," said Victoria while chuckling. "Sure, that's fine, Victoria. Here's my address, and I'll see you tonight for the movie," said Jack, while handing her the piece of paper with his address. Just before Jack could walk away, Victoria kissed him on the lips, and walked away with that same devilish smile while Jack was busy turning a very bright shade of red. Later that night, she came over. She wore a thin red t-shirt with blue skinny jeans and black and white Nikes. She looked pretty damn irresistible. Her clothes were very tight, and it hugged her skin to the point where it showed off all of her curves. Told her I'd be right back, then I went to make popcorn and get some drinks for the movie. We found a pretty good horror movie to watch, and during the movie she even snuggled up to me a little bit, put her head on my shoulder. Felt like my heart was beating on my chest at this point. After about an hour of the movie, she said she was bored, asked if we could take a late night walk through the park. I was a little bit suspicious at first, but decided it would be kind of cool to walk through the park late at night with this insanely attractive girl. We were walking through the park when I heard snickering. I ignored it at first. Man, was I stupid as that. Because all of a sudden she jumped forward while ducking, and Alex Martinez stepped out of nowhere, and roundhouse kicked me. I went down on the cement hard, landing on my back. All of a sudden, three more guys came out. Two guys held me up on my arms, while Alex and his friends took turns punching me. One of the guys punching me I had recognized as the guy that called me a fucking coward in the hallway at school. I remembered someone putting a bag over my head, throwing them into my front lawn. But other than that, my mind was blank. It all happened too fast for me to remember much. I curled inside and up to my bed. Luckily for me, tomorrow was Saturday. Just before I fell asleep, everything clicked in my head. I realized everything she did. She led me there so Alex and her friends could jump me. That's when I snapped. I vowed to get revenge by any means necessary, if it meant people had to die. And believe me when I say, people were about to die. I first went to talk to my friend, whose dad is the captain of a SWAT team. He had an arsenal in his house. I grabbed a knockout grenade, some rope, heroin, and two Glock 49s with three rags each round, and tons more. I was going to make sure I had more than enough items to torture this coward to get my revenge. My friend's dad leaves a paper with a code on it inside the desk drawer. I simply used the code to open the safe, grabbed what I needed, and then stuffed the gear into a duffel bag and left. My next stop was the grocery store to get a few things. I got some salt, vinegar, kitchen knives. After I left, I went to Home Depot to get tools, materials, and many other things. Talked to a few people who had informed me about a cabin in the woods. It was abandoned. Apparently a guy died there. No one wanted to buy it once the police removed his corpse. I figured, what better place for my revenge? It's been abandoned ever since he died, and is so deep in the woods that no one will hear or see anything. What's even better is that the place has a basement made entirely out of concrete and is 10 feet underground. The room is about 6 feet from each wall. It's the ideal location, so I thought. I went upstairs and rigged a wire to the counter where I could crouch down. As soon as they walk through the door, I will pull the wire and activate the grenade. Gas will knock them unconscious. I will be wearing a gas mask, so obviously I'll be unaffected. After that, I went home. It was Sunday night, and tomorrow was Monday, beginning of my revenge. I was so pumped, so excited, so anxious, I couldn't sleep all night. I just tossed and turned in my bed, waiting for the time to come for my revenge. I just kept thinking about all the awesome stuff I could do to them for my revenge. I was going to make them suffer, and I wasn't going to give them the privilege of death. No, that would have been too easy. I will make them suffer. I will torture them so slowly until the point of pure agony, till they practically beg me to kill them. Tomorrow will be the greatest day of my life. After I got to school, I walked right up to Alex Martinez and Victoria Falls. Told them to come to the cabin I found in the woods. They were very surprised and majorly suspicious, but I explained that I wanted to make peace, that I just wanted to go to school here with no trouble. It was our senior year, and I just wanted to focus on getting my education, not some stupid rivalry. It took a bit of talking and reassuring, but eventually they agreed to show up. One day later, they were right on time like I was hoping they would be. I was silently waiting in the corner of the room with my gas mask on, just waiting for them to open the door. I was crouching in position just as a tiger when they were about to pounce on their enemies and their prey, because, let's face it, Alex and the rest of those cowards are nothing short of my prey, and I am the tiger. All of a sudden, the explosion from the knockout grenade went off as they all came inside and shut the door. They passed out instantly, and I quickly laughed and went to work. I tied them up and dragged them down to the basement. I then tied them down to these old, rusty beds, and about an hour later they started waking up. I laughed and took off my mask. They looked in horror as I laid out all my tools and weapons. It's time to get my revenge, by any means necessary. I made sure to grab everything I would need. I had hammers, pliers, blades, car battery, syringes, bolts, and much, much more. They were just watching in horror as I laid out every tool in my arsenal. I started with Alex Martinez, since he was the main cause of my torment, my abuse, but most of all, my hatred and anger. I took a rusted bolt and I hammered it into his knee with a 2-pound hammer. He screamed in agony as blood poured out of his wound. I took full pride in watching him suffer. The sounds of his suffering were so delicious and tasteful to my ears. I then took salt and dumped it all over his wound. He screamed in absolute agony. I just kept laughing like a maniac. I then took my flathead screwdriver and used it to pry his eyeball out, making sure to do it sloppily and slowly, just so I could make him hurt more. I licked it and took a bite of it, then another and another until it was all gone. Please, just let us go. We won't say a word. We swear on our lives, screamed Victoria. Oh, but why, Victoria? We're having so much fun. Can't you see that? Said Jack, whose face was turned into a very dark, ugly shape, and laughed as the words left his mouth. I'll fucking kill you, you fucking sociopathic bitch. You hear me? You're fucking dead, roared Alex in a loud but pained voice. No, you won't, Alex. See, your time hasn't come yet, and I'm not done toying with you. I still have such great plans for you, Alex. We're gonna have so much fun together, my dear friend, said Jack while smiling and laughing to himself. He then looked to Victoria and said, Don't worry, sweetie. I'm gonna make sure I spend extra time with you. Your time will come soon enough, but you'll have to just be patient, said Maverick while looking at her with an absolutely terrifying and bone-chilling grin. Jack then walked back over to his tool bench and grabbed his next item of choice. He cut off Alex's shirt and grabbed both a car battery and a set of jumper cables. Jack then hooked one end of the jumper cables to Alex's nipples, then the other to a car battery. He then hooked the car battery up to an electric machine to get the current flowing. Jack had built a homemade electric machine with a switch to control how much electricity was being flowed into Alex. Jack slowly turned it up to the point where Alex was screaming bloody murder. Then Jack turned it back down. He did this for a few minutes until Alex started to say something. Jack got close to hear what he was saying. Alex then bit Jack on the cheek, left a nasty bruise. He didn't break the skin, luckily for Jack, but he did leave a nice purple mark. Jack was so pissed that he turned the machine all the way up to the highest setting. Alex screamed in the loudest screams he could manage. Jack turned the machine back down when Alex started to talk again. Please, Jack, please kill me. For the love of God and all that is holy, please end it, said Alex, sounding absolutely broken and destroyed. He was done, broken, finished, and everyone in the room knew it. It was Jack's turn to speak. Okay, Alex, I'll do you that much. It was nice spending time with you, my lovely friend, said Jack while smiling the same smile that he gave Victoria a few minutes ago. Jack unhooked Alex's machine and grabbed a gas can, started dumping gas all over Alex. Jack, no, please, I'm so sorry. I beg of you, don't kill me like this, said Alex, sounding completely terrified. Jack's face contorted into a facial expression of deep thought and said no, and then started pouring pouring more gas. Just as Alex was about to say something, Jack lit a match and threw it. Alex's body lit up immediately and burned to a crisp. The smell was horrible, but luckily Jack brought his own nose plug. I then walked up to the second guy who helped punch me in the stomach and told him, "Your turn, asshole." He spit on my forehead and squirmed in his bed. I wiped off the spit from my forehead and walked over to the table full of my equipment. I grabbed the blade and pliers and went back to him. Grabbed his tongue with the pliers. Then I used the dual blade and sawed his tongue out. I licked it and took bites of it until the last tasty bites, relishing in the sound of his screams. He was screaming in agony and spitting blood on the floor. I then used pliers and started pulling off all his fingernails, his toenails, and even his eyelashes. He was feeling the worst pain possible. I then took a dusty, rusty, dull hacksaw, sawed off his fingers, toes, arms, and even legs. I ate every bite after I ripped them off, made sure I even dumped salt and alcohol on every wound to slow the bleeding. Eventually he died from blood loss. Oh, it took a while. There were only 3 people left. I went to the first guy who helped me during the jumping, and started with him. Took the pliers and held his ear out while I took the rusty, dull hacksaw and cut off his ear, making sure to go exceptionally slow, drinking in the sounds of his agony. I then took his pants off, took my favorite dagger, and cut off his penis and testicles. After I finished slowly cutting them off, I then made Victoria Falls eat them. After she finished, I took a scalpel and cut open his chest, ripped out his heart. The last thing he saw before he died was me taking a bite out of his heart. Oh man, it tasted so good. It was so sweet, it was warm. Above all else, it was juicy. It was amazing and it was an absolute delight. That's when I forced Victoria to eat the rest of the heart. After he died, I then started feeding on the rest of his body. Especially loved the lungs, the intestines, but the greatest delight of all was the brain. It was so damn juicy and sweet like candy. I loved it so much that I was desperate to get more of it eventually. I even made sure to have Victoria eat some of it. There were only 2 people left now. The next target was the other guy who held me while I was beaten. I smiled and wiped the blood off my face. I smiled with the same bone-chilling grin. It was his turn to suffer just as the others have suffered. I grabbed sulfuric acid and dumped drops of it on each of his toes and fingers, making sure to only dump enough to make him suffer, but not enough to kill him. After his fingers, toes were gone, he was barely alive. I decided it's time to end him so I could move on to Victoria. I dumped it on his chest, watched the acid melt through his chest, and I watched his insides spill everywhere. I then copied my moments from last victims and ate the safe pieces of flesh. I enjoyed his brain especially. I mean, holy shit, it was the greatest thing I ever tasted. My mouth was an absolute heaven. Only Victoria Falls was left. I grabbed a pound of heroin and a syringe. I wanted her to suffer as much as Alex did, so I made the perfect plan to do that. I injected her with a shot of heroin once every hour and a half for 6 hours straight. In between the hour and a half, I would cut her in 5 different spots on her skin. I made sure to cut very slightly, just so she wouldn't lose too much blood. Bit by bit, she became a bloody, disgusting mess, all while Jack sat in the corner, enjoying the mess like a true sociopath. She begged a couple of times for him to forgive her, to release her, or to even just end her pain, but he wouldn't budge, not just yet. After the 4th shot of heroin, she then died of overdose. He almost felt bad for everything he did. Keyword being here, almost. After I finished with her, I cut up what was left of the bodies and cooked the meat, then seasoned the meat to turn it into homemade beef jerky. I took the beef jerky home and served it to everyone in the neighborhood. I even served it to my victims' families and watched them smile as they ate it. Everyone enjoyed it so much that I was forced to make more. I slowly started hunting more and more bullies in the school until no one was left. No one ever suspected me for the mass disappearances because there were just too many bullies pushing people around. As far as anyone knew, the killer could be practically anyone, and I usually kept to myself. I got away with it and to this day I laugh at what happened if it was all a big giant joke. The end. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you want to see more and you like what you saw, make sure you leave a thumbs up, and you subscribe. If you want to give tips, suggestions on what you want to see or what you thought could be better, you can leave a comment below, or you can also message me on Facebook, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Other than that, thank you for your guys' time, and welcome to the Freelancers Hub.